Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how I completed my workbook for my PMT interest for $150,000 at a 5.8% interest rate for 10 years, which would be 120 payments. And this is basically what it looks like. I answered the few questions we had at the bottom. So this is what I did. First off, in B1, I typed in amount of loan. In B2, I typed in annual interest rate. In B3, I put number of payments. I skipped a line. And then B5, put monthly payment. So for those, I just highlighted a cross right here for B and C. And then I went to Format Cells. And then for alignment, I went center across selection. That way we don't have to worry about necessarily merging the cells, but it centers it across the two. In D1, I put the amount of the loan we took out, which was $150,000. In D2, I put our interest rate, which is 5.8% annually. And then in D3, I put 120, which is the amount of payments we're going to make. So for our monthly payment, basically what I did was I typed in a PMT formula for D2, which is our interest rate, divided by 12, and then you put comma D3, which is our number of payments, comma D1, which is $150,000, and this is what it came up with from that formula, was a payment of $1,650.28. Now next I skipped another line and I went to A7, typed in number, in B7 payment, in C7 interest, in D7 principal, and in E7 balance. So for those, I just highlighted these across and clicked on this little center alignment button right here to make those centered across. Now for the colors of these things, if you want to change them, you just highlight whatever cells you want, and you can go to this little bucket right here, click the little down arrow, and you can pick one of these colors, or you can pick something from the more colors option. In A8, I put 0 because we hadn't put any payments yet. And then in E8, I put $150,000 because that's our beginning balance. Now in A1, in A9, sorry, I just put A8 plus 1, which gives me the number 1. For payment, I just put D5, which is our monthly payment, because that's what we're going to pay every month. For interest, it's a little bit of a different formula. Basically what it does is it takes the balance you have, which right now it's $150,000, and it multiplies it times our interest rate and then divides it by 12, and that gives you what the interest is. So then after you get that, you go to the principal column, you subtract what your payment was minus what your interest was, and that gives you the principal that you've paid. So that when you go to the balance on that same line, you're going to subtract your balance from the previous one, which, since this is our first payment, it was $150,000, and then you subtract the principal that you paid, which for this one was $925.28. So that's what you're going to subtract, and you end up with your new balance. Now you could take the time to do this for every single payment, but since we had 120 payments, that would have taken quite a while. So all I did was highlight it across, and then this little box here in the corner, when it turns into the smaller cross, you just drag it all the way down to where you need it to be. Since it started on E8, so we're going to go all the way down to 128. That'll give us 120 of the payments, and there you go. And now you have your balance of 0, and it calculates it all for you. Now the questions we had to answer was how much do you owe by payment? $75. So we just go and we find $75. And we still owe $66,597.68. Then it says, what is the total interest you paid at the end of 120 payments? So what I did was, in the interest column, which is the C column, all I did was go to formulas and I clicked auto sum to sum C9 through C128 and clicked enter, and that gave me the total amount of interest I paid, which ended up being $48,033.86. Now, the last question was, if you found a bank who would loan you the money for 4.5% interest rate, how much money would you save? So all I did for that was I came up here and I clicked on the interest rate and I just changed it to 4.5% and clicked enter. And if you notice, it changes all of your totals for you. And the new balance is $36,549.14. So to find out how much money I saved, the extra money I'm paying is on interest anyway. So what I did was I just subtracted the $48,033.86 minus $36,549.14, and I came up with a savings of $11,484.72. And that's how I did my PMT interest. Thanks for listening.